Alright, hi you guys.
Hey guys, what's up?
Welcome to podcast number 3. So we have some really juicy stories. Andrea's been working really hard. Some juicy, spooky stories. We have a real fire going on today. Check that out. So it's really cool.
Nice and cozy.
Alright, Dre. So what kind of things are we going to talk about today?
Alright, so we haven't covered this topic yet, and I really am intrigued in it every time I hear anything about it. UFOs. What do you guys think? How do you feel about it? Alright, so I have a little mini UFO story myself. I think I was maybe 16, 17 years old, driving back with my mom from, I believe it was Six Flags, dead at night. I'm basically passed out in the back of the car, just looking up at the sky, because, it looks beautiful at night, on 95, and, this flying saucer, if you want to call it, kind of just, captures my attention. It's just, up there, it's moving really weird. At first, anybody else, of course, I thought it was, plane, I don't know, something else, blimp, maybe, but I guess at night wouldn't make any sense. So I'm just, staring at it for a while, didn't really say anything to anybody else. It had really weird lights, and, I just remember, the way that it moved was very, very strange. So I'm saying UFO. Haven't seen anything other than that since. So Brittany, today, yesterday, I don't know, she remembered that she had this cool book. If you don't have it, get it. And in this book, it's all about hauntings in Connecticut. And it's really, really cool because it has some of the most famous hauntings that you can think of. And if you live in this area, it's even cooler because you could do your own research, go to these places. But there's one specific story about UFOs. So today I'm gonna kind of read it to you guys. Alright, so this one is called Fairfield County UFO Flap. And it says, during the 1980s, in the Hudson Valley was the site of a number of high-profile flaps over UFOs that were witnessed by thousands and thousands of people. The wave of sightings became known as the Hudson Valley Boomerang Sightings, and the entire region quickly attained UFO hotspot status. While much of the auto focused on New York's Pine Brush area, Fairfield County, Connecticut was not to be outdone. Mark Pacco thoroughly investigated and documented the sightings for the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, of Connecticut. His investigations of two very active dates in 1985 and 1989 provided detailed accounts of the typical boomerang sightings by most who were fortunate enough to witness the phenomenon. According to Pacco, on March 21st, 1985, reports of huge UFOs were phoned into the authorities from New Fairfield, Bethel, Danbury, Trumbull, Bridgeport, Milford, Orange, Derby, Ansonia, Naugatuck, and Middlefield. It's all right around here. All over. Most accounts of the sightings in Fairfield County are fairly similar, describing a large round or oval saucer outlined by red and white lights, a flattened football, a large blimp, or an object with red and white lights on its underside. It was said to be slower than a plane, very large like a football field, and either silent or making a low humming noise. The UFO was not at all shy of populated areas, often hovering or moving slowly over the major highways, I-95 and I-84, I-95, where I saw mine, Housatonic Parkway, and shopping centers. Pretty creepy. Because of the sheer volume of witnesses over such a widespread area, many newspapers reported on the sightings in the days following the light show, including the Danbury News-Times, Bethel Holmes News, Bridgeport Post, Milford Citizen, Ansonia Evening, Middletown Press, and Waterbury Republic. The August 31st, 1989 sightings differed from the 1985 sightings in that the object in question was more often boomerang-shaped, although this one also had red and either white or yellow lights around its circumference. The cities of Stratford, Trumbull, Shelton, and Bridgeport played host to this UFO, and as with the 1985 sightings, scores of eyewitnesses described the object surprisingly similarly. Again, the object was unconcerned with being highly visible. All witnesses to the aerial anomaly in the skies of northwestern Connecticut that night agreed that the object was very large and angular, with both flashing and steady lights. It was described as V-shaped, L-shaped, or triangular, similar to the hull of a submarine, and as a floating triangle of lights, very slowly and at a low altitude, hovering just above treetops or quiet side streets for a moment before moving on unhurriedly. Both of these UFOs were sighted by thousands of witnesses, many of whom were policemen, scientists, and researchers. So it's not just random people. These are legit people that know what they're talking about. Though the shape differed from one UFO to the other 4 years later, in both cases, everyone agreed that the objects were extremely large, quiet, and slow-moving, and something unidentified that they had never seen before.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So Fairfield County is pretty loaded, I guess.
There's
so.
plenty.
Why did the aliens only want to visit Fairfield County?
Well, it is the richest county, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they're here to rob us.
What? They want all of the American dollars to use on Mars and
really
Jupiter.
Greedy.
Mars and Jupiter has a currency, American currency.
American currency. Oh, it's the ashes. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. Damn. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you said that you saw one.
Yeah. I-95, just like in the story.
What's up with I-95?
I don't know.
It's in line with the Mars kind of thing.
It attracts them.
There was actually one time that I did see like a UFO here in Connecticut. So this one time I was actually with my mom, and we were at like a concert, and this was about 10 years ago, and you could probably like look it up now, about 10 years ago or something, because it was all over the news the next day. But it is really cool. So we were at like this concert, the music was playing and everything like that, and my mom was talking to her friend, and I kind of just like looked up in the sky, and it was like later in the evening because the concert already like started and it was getting started, and I kind of like looked up at the sky, and I saw this light kind of like flying by, and I was like, oh, well, it's an airplane. And then I realized that the lights kind of weren't shining like the way that an airplane would. It wasn't like going straight like
aliens,
that.
Man.
So but the light was actually just like shining down, so like something you would see in the movie or something that they like talk about or something like that. It was flying by and the light was just shining down, and I kind of just like laughed, and I looked at my mom and I was like, hey Mom, look, a UFO. And she looked and she was like, oh, look, a UFO. And I was kind of kidding, but then it kind of just disappeared behind the clouds and everything like that. And that's when we kind of like went to bed that night. We woke up the next day, and all in the news articles and everything like that over here in Connecticut, there were pictures of like what we saw and announcements that there was a UFO sighting. So definitely really crazy. We weren't the only people who saw it. You guys can probably Google it right now. It was over here in Connecticut. It was just this light orb and a big shiny light that just went down. So airplanes don't do that. I don't know. Anything that like floats in the air, what does that? I don't know. Were the aliens visiting us? Is that what it is?
They really wanted to go to the Big E that year.
They really wanted to. They were fans.
They wanted to be part of the concert.
They were fans of the concert. So.
It was a really good band, apparently.
I don't know. There's a lot of like questions about like alien abductions and like UFOs and everything like that. Is that your dream, Dre?
Yeah.
Do you want to be abducted?
I want to hang out with those aliens, man.
Good goal, Dre.
I want to know what they know.
Put that into the universe. They're listening. They
know things that we don't know.
Cool.
Above and beyond.
Yeah, it's definitely really crazy. So, I don't know what I saw. Maybe you guys saw it. Did you guys see it? Let us know.